Welcome back to Reliable Sources. I'm Brian Stelter. The ice and snow nightmare that turned Atlanta into a third world city temporarily this week. Oh my goodness, incredible traffic jams of 16 hours or more. Children stranded at school for days. Babies born on the highway. Miles of abandoned cars. All of it turning normally cordial Atlantans bitter and angry. People turned on their leaders and demanded to know, how did this happen? Now, since I'm a media reporter, this is my beat. For me, it boils down to a single question. In a crisis, what responsibility do elected officials have to speak to journalists? What responsibility do they have to answer the questions that, in this case, a furious city was shouting from their, stranded cars and their rooftops? At first, the mayor did appear on CNN, and the governor held a press conference, but they didn't really take responsibility, and the rage of the city grew. CNN's Carol Costello interviewed Mayor Kasim Reed the morning after the storm when all hell was breaking loose, and listen to this.
We got 1 million people out of the city. We have not had any fatalities. We've cleared the way of all of our hospitals, all of our police stations,
but see, I've heard
and
this
all
from
of our
public
fire
officials
stations.
before. We didn't have any fatalities, but that was just by the grace of God. There were 1,000 traffic accidents.
It's not
People
just by the
got out
grace
of their
God.
cars
No,
on icy roadways in
It's
frigid
easy for you to
conditions
say
walk
from
home.
your anchor seat. The fact
No,
of the matter,
I
it's
was
not
out
just-
stuck in the
it's not-
traffic. I was one of those people.
Eventually, officials began to admit their mistakes. I wanted to explore what this is like for both sides, for the reporters and for the officials. So we found exactly the right people for the job. Our own Carol Costello, who you just saw in that clip, and Michael Brown, who was in charge of FEMA during Hurricane Katrina in 2005. Carol, tell us first, from your personal experience about what happened. You were stuck in traffic like so many other people.
Well, first of all, I tried to leave CNN for the day, right? So I go to my car, try to get out of the parking lot. I wait for an hour. I could not get onto the road that led to my home. I live 2 miles from CNN. So after an hour, I gave up, went back into CNN, hung around with my coworkers for about 3 hours, and I figured, oh, surely the traffic would be clear by then.
Was it?
No. I went back out. I traveled a few blocks with no problems, but then I got to a certain point and I just sat in traffic for 2 hours. At the end of those 2 hours, I just started to inch my way home. 2 miles in 2 hours. And this is a mild story. Some of my coworkers were trapped in traffic for 23 hours. Nobody should have to sit in their car and relieve themselves in their car in a modern city. Nobody should have to endure that for 23 hours. No one.
So it was a real crisis. So let me play devil's advocate. If it's a real crisis, why should public officials be coming out, taking time out of what they're doing to talk to journalists like you?
Because people needed to hear from their public officials to know that everything was all right. Isn't that why we elect these people? They needed to be held accountable, number one. And number two, they needed to tell people in a public forum what they were doing about the problem. It was their responsibility to appear on television or on the radio or whatever.
Michael, I don't think anyone should liken this to Katrina. Of course, that was a very different thing, and it'd be offensive to compare the two.
Right.
But, you are famous for the soundbite after the storm. Let's go ahead and play it for those who may not remember.
Again, I want to thank you all for, and Brownie, you're doing a heck of a job. The FEMA director's working 24. They're working 24 hours a day.
I know those words probably still haunt you in some way. I wonder, as it applies to Atlanta, what should public officials have done in this case?
Well, to Carol's point, public officials do need to be communicating. They need to understand that, look, I've been to Atlanta 50 times in my lifetime, and even on a good day, the traffic sucks, Carol, let's be honest. So when it rains, it sucks. But to not recognize that there is a potential ice storm coming, and I've heard the reports, oh, it may go to the east, it may go to the west. That's exactly the thing we had with Hurricane Katrina. And I kept trying to convince, Mayor Nagin, Governor Blanco, and others, you need to evacuate the city, and you need to start doing these things earlier. The key for public officials is to understand that if they fail to take action, they're going to have many more problems than if they take some action, but it's the wrong action. So to the earlier point you asked Carol about, should you be talking to these officials? Absolutely, because that's how people get information about what they should be doing. And I believe that's a good source of information, but I'm also one of these guys, because I've seen too many disasters in my life that, and not to pick on Carol, but Carol who lives there could have known that, this could get bad And for whatever reason, I don't know why you didn't leave earlier, but Carol could have left earlier and perhaps
working.
well, she was
I'm a
working.
news
Yeah,
reporter.
she's
We don't
in the
leave
newsroom.
early.
But other people, I read a story in the New York Times that said people were waiting to hear when the schools were going to be let out. I get that people have to worry about daycare, they have to worry about all these other things, but knowing the ramifications of not taking your child out earlier and waiting solely on elected officials to tell you what to do, it's got to be a balance. It's got to be a balance between the two. It's got to be a balance between the two,
You cannot
Carol.
blame the citizens of Atlanta for this.
No, I'm not blaming the citizens, but
because
they have
this
to.
is what the mayor should have done. The mayor should have gotten on television, and I don't care what any other public official told him. He
Right.
should have said, you know, weather is coming. I know that the school superintendent, he's not going to close down the schools, but I'm telling you, you know what happens, parents.
Yes.
So maybe you shouldn't bring your kids to school.
Yes.
No public
Yes.
official did that in
But
Atlanta.
they should.
And then when the traffic was backed up, they went on the air in these press conferences and they said, wow, gosh, we did
I-
everything we could. The weather forecast must
Should
have
they
been
have
wrong.
taken full responsibility right away, Michael?
Absolutely, absolutely. And to go back to Carol's point, I can remember vividly, I don't know whether it was on this network or another network, but we had been asking the mayor and the governor to evacuate New Orleans, and we couldn't get them to move fast enough. So I thought, to your point, Carol, well, I will go out and say that. I will go out and say, hey, if I lived in New Orleans, I think I would be leaving now. And I think that's what officials need to say. Look, we know what traffic's like. We don't know where the storm's hitting. It may get really bad. If I were you, I'd be going home now before traffic gets really bad.
It made a difference that you live there, doesn't it? And that the Weather Channel and CNN are based in Atlanta?
Well, you know, it was a strange situation for me because you're right. I was in the middle of it, and I'm also a journalist, and I'm supposed to remove myself from it.
But we have had those
But-
moments during Katrina, during Sandy,
That's
during
right.
other disasters.
That's right. And you do feel for people. At the same time, I had interviewed a series of people previous to my interview with the mayor who were stuck in traffic for 23 hours and couldn't get home. There were children on school buses trapped there. They couldn't get to their parents, and their parents couldn't get to them. So at the point I started interviewing the mayor, I had all of this in my head. I knew that I was representing the people of Atlanta. I knew that I had to ask the questions that those people wanted me to ask of Mayor Reed. That's my responsibility. The reason I was combative with Mayor Reed was because he kept giving me talking points. And I couldn't get past this defensive nature of his. And I wanted him to say, I screwed up. This is what I should have done. But this is what I'm going to do now. And that wasn't there. And that was really frustrating to me as a journalist and, frankly, as a citizen of Atlanta.
Michael, when you've been in these cases, did you ever feel disrespected? Or did you understand what reporters like Carol were doing?
No, I mean, in fact, I remember a very specific interview where we were miscommunicating. I kept getting asked a question over and over and over, and I kept completely mishearing what the point was. But to Carol's point, she absolutely did the right thing. And I think what you said about you trying to get through the talking points, trying to get through something, that's a lesson that every elected officials that's listening to this program needs to pay attention to what you just said and do that. Listen to the question, understand where you're coming from, as, not only as a journalist, but as a citizen of that community. And then be willing. I'm one of these guys that truly believes the American people, even in times of crisis, they just want the truth. That's all they want.
Oh,
and
amen.
if people would just listen to the journalists when they ask the questions, forget, because look, I had a communications director, I had the talking points, I got talking points from the White House, I got talking points from Homeland Security. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that I made during Katrina, which I fully admit to in my book, is that you should just listen to the question and answer it truthfully.
Michael Brown, Carol Costello, thank you both for being here. And Carol, safe travels back to Atlanta.
The traffic
Good
is
luck.
clear. I know exactly. It's going to get warm.
Thank you so much.